AM 1230, 93.3 FM, KTRF, online, trfradio.com. Good morning, 9:46, and time for this morning's Mark Allen's Hometown Heroes. And our Hometown Heroes show today brought to you by our friends at Oakley Quilting Supply, Roxbury Truck Repair, Phillips Iron and Metal, the Thief River Falls Regional Airport, and our new sponsor, we welcome the Evergreen Bakery and Catering as well. Joining us this morning is Gretchen Vidal. Gretchen, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to have you just a little closer to the microphone. You can pull the microphone just a little closer to yourself. Yes. We were running all over the place here because we saw donuts in the back, so we get a little crazy here. Thanks for joining me.
It's nice to be here.
It's good to have you, and we're going to talk a little bit about and learn a little bit about Gretchen Vidal for those that don't know. Gretchen, let's start with where are you from?
Well, I'm a Minneapolis girl, but one of the best things that ever happened to me was I went to St. Olaf College, and there I met Gretchen Vidal, who was from Gonvick, and so we fell in love, and we married, and I moved to Thief River Falls in 1960.
1960, moved to town.
Yes.
And of course, involved in banking.
Yes.
Yeah. And you were right by his side.
Oh, yes. And he was by mine.
Yeah. And that was back in the day. And a lot of things have happened. And some of the things we want to talk about with Gretchen, one of the things, first thing I want to talk about, because I didn't know this until you had mentioned this to me yesterday, you were involved with Discovery Place back in, was it early 70s, right?
1971. And I formed a board out of interested people. There were one from each church in town. Okay. And we went ahead. It was certainly the most difficult thing I've ever undertaken, but it was successful. So much so, it started out for 3-year-olds to 5-year-olds, but today it's much bigger. Yeah. It takes care of many more ages, and wasn't it satisfying? Northland College wanted a child care center. They didn't start a new one. It's a second Discovery Place. They saw that what we were doing.
Yeah, it was well needed. In fact, daycare is so important nowadays too. Yes. It's becoming to that critical point again where we need a lot of daycare. So maybe we need you to start inventing some other things.
Well, that was Arctic Cat. They had they sewed their wonderful new Arctic Cat clothing right here in town, and I had a 2-year-old. I couldn't find anybody to take care of her during the day.
Yeah,
that was the way it was in 71.
Back in the early 70s. Something else, of course, you were very involved with the Zalians and the Riverwalk. Yes. That was a big project that you were involved with too, wasn't it?
Well, absolutely. And there you see Gene. He joined me. We put on our cross-country skis. We skied. We were already in Greenwood Trails, but we skied through that, and then we went along, followed the river, and went on out and skied through the Northland College trails. Mm-hmm. And so I presented that idea of a river walk to the Zalians, and they grabbed onto it. And I guess that is maybe the most satisfying, because it did turn out better than we ever envisioned. We partnered, of course, with the city step by step. We worked alongside each other and achieved getting the walking bridge. We told the city council, you can't walk across our beautiful river with a small child in this town, and so on. Well, that and linking, just utilizing both of our beautiful rivers.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And both very successful to today as well. It's used all the time.
Yes.
Because
it's very satisfying.
It is. It's a beautiful walk. I mean,
Yes.
the walk itself and the scenery all around it.
Yes.
So it was a great idea. Great idea. Our guest this morning, Gretchen Vidal, on our Hometown Heroes. We take suggestions, and Evergreen Bakery and Catering is one of our new sponsors, and we put it up on our Facebook page to have people suggest who they would like to see on the show and hear from. And one of the people that I had said Gretchen Vidal, and one of the reasons they said is because Gretchen is so involved with history, and
Yes.
she writes history, and she lets
Yes.
us know you have a in the history of a lot of different things, of Thief River Falls and everything, aren't
this
you?
area. Yes, I do. And in fact, I wrote the first brochure for the Riverwalk. It's an historic Riverwalk, and so along it are placards showing how it once looked. Yes.
Okay.
And explaining that there was a lumber mill where Hugo's is today.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and
Yes.
we've got we see some old photos. We've seen
Yes.
photos. We see the writings about it. It's very interesting. Now, do you have some of your writings that are available? Are they in like the library or?
Well, they're not only in the library; they are for sale at the library.
Okay.
And three major things, I guess. One is stories from the area called Tales of the Secret Earth River. Now, I'm not going to explain the title. And right now the newest books. There are 6 books available with full color pictures taken by my daughter-in-law Mireille. They are of Inez Mastu's beautiful Scandinavian dolls. I have one with me, and you see, she's Swedish, so hers says "tillig," that which is Swedish for to you. Well, I feel I have preserved Inez's beautiful art by making them digital.
Oh, okay.
But the major thing and I guess the biggest challenge I ever had was writing a major book, which was accepted. I was surprised it was of national interest. I wrote it for us. It's about Oakley a lot because, of course, this book is about Koya Knudsen, who was teaching English and music in Oakley when she was elected to the United States Congress in '54. So there you have some of my major writings.
Those are wonderful things. We're going to continue our conversation with Gretchen in just a moment. I do want to remind you that Roxbury Truck Repair is here for all of your truck, trailer, and maintenance repair. It's Roxbury Truck Repair. Phillips Iron and Metal. They accept all ferrous and non-ferrous metals, including but not limited to stainless steel, copper, brass, aluminum, lead, insulated wire, nickel, high-tempo alloys, precious metals, etc. Whether you bring the material to us or we bring us to you, we provide quality service at competitive pricing. Thief River Falls Regional Airport with hassle-free security and free parking. Be sure to check out the benefits of flying local. Thief River Falls Regional Airport, from your front door to the rest of the world. And of course, also Oakley Quilting Supply. Oakley Quilting Supply carries many quilting lines that include Moda, Henry Glass, Quilting Treasures, and many more. They're adding new fabrics all the time too. Stop on Main Street in Oakley. They're open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 to noon at Oakley Quilting Supply. And of course, and our latest and newest sponsor, Evergreen Bakery and Catering. And they brought some delicious donuts out here for us to enjoy and for our guest as well. They have some great stuff. Evergreen Bakery and Catering. And fresh donuts made daily, serving breakfast and lunches daily. Stop in and taste the love. Evergreen Bakery and Catering. Our guest today, Gretchen Vidal, and Gretchen, the book Koya Come Home,
Yes.
of course, is one of the things that I remember because it was so interesting to know that not only Koya, but there's so many people from Northwest Minnesota that we don't know about, and this is one way to learn about them. When you wrote about Koya, people learned about somebody up here who carried some pretty importance in the state.
Yes, I think our own history is fascinating. And you're right.
Is it tough to do the investigative work to find out information about it? Like, how did you go about finding all the information in the background?
Well, I did go back to school. I had 3 wonderful children, but when they all went to school, I went to school too. And I did earn a master's degree over at the University of North Dakota. So I learned how to find sources from there.
Okay.
And so actually, the beginning of the book is part of a paper I had to write. I had to write a 100-page paper in order to get a degree. Mm-hmm. And it was on how Koya Knutson got to Congress. Yes, I got an A on it.
That girl.
That's a central part of the book. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you see, it was a really challenging project, but I loved doing it.
Yeah,
the research is what I loved. Writing was hard.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you love the history, don't you? That seems to be a big part of it.
You could ask me about history in this area, and I'll give you some kind of an answer.
What is one of the most enjoyable things you look in history? Is it the people, the places, the stories behind it?
Well, I tell you, they didn't really know what to do with me in the history department over there because Gretchen came in. First of all, there are very few women in history, but I wanted to study rural women.
Okay.
And I consistently did that in my studies and my books, too. You'll see, have to do with, I'm learning, you see. But I'm not, by the way, I'm not completely a city person. One grandma lived in Warren, another grandma was a dairy farmer, so I've lived on a farm. And so on. So anyway, but I am still learning, and I love Thief River Falls and living in a smaller community.
Yeah, great community. We're pretty happy and proud to have you here too. And of course, you say you're continuously learning. Are you looking at doing any other projects?
Not any big projects, but yes. Right now, I'm talking to Millie first, as I'd like to write a little article on Leonard, her husband, who was in the Special Forces, the 90th Division in World War II.
Oh, that would
and
be cool.
is writing it, trying to write it up. I find small projects in history that I do enjoy doing.
Well, we love to continue to see and hear what you come up with. It's fantastic. Gretchen, thanks so much. Anything else you want to pass along, or anything else that you've been busy with or that you are pretty proud of that you want to mention to folks?
Well, I'll just say, yes, one of my most fun projects was starting Art Adventure, going into elementary schools with paintings, but it was so easy by the time I finished 40-some years later. Then I tell the teacher the name of the artist, and up on the whiteboard came a beautiful reproduction of the paintings.
Really cool.
So I've come out. I've seen a lot of changes as I've been a volunteer.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Gretchen, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I enjoyed the conversation.
Been wonderful. It has been wonderful. Gretchen Vidal, our guest today on Hometown Heroes, brought to you by Evergreen Bakery and Catering, by Oakley Quilting Supply, Roxbury Truck Repair, Phillips Iron and Metal, and the Thief River Falls Regional Airport.